Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are the subtotal of the choices and the decisions we make on a daily basis. I'm Coach Ricardo Miller, and I'm super excited about you joining me because we're talking about building your best life this morning. Now, here's the deal. I've understood this now for more than a couple of years, I would say, and I'm working on becoming my best self. And so every day here on our platform, we're allowing ourselves to discover the principles necessary for winning. I'm excited about this morning's guest, Miss Deborah D. Smith. What's up, Miss Deborah?
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm so excited that you're joining me this morning. How's the weather there in Florida?
It is beautiful here. Beautiful in the high 70s.
Wow. And so are you guys ready for Palm Sunday weekend, Easter coming up?
Yes, sir. We are ready. We're doing, yeah.
Well, for our viewing audience who don't know Deborah Smith, could you quickly tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yes, my name is Deborah Smith. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, married with 4 children, 6 grandchildren. I'm retired from a major insurance corporation after 41 years. I currently work part-time for a minority-owned financial services company. I'm a children's minister at my church. I have a platform that's built to uplift young men, to make them be the best that they can be. And I love to spend time with my family.
Good stuff. Good stuff. You know, on your journey, you said, you know, you've been a professional, you've been on a job for a while, you've survived 2020. I mean, the pandemic occurred, and the pandemic, it took a lot of people out. What keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you, going when there could be so many reasons for you to just say, you know what, I'm retired. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to sit on my porch and enjoy life. I think I've served humanity enough. I don't need to be going as hard as I'm going. What keeps you going?
I just have so many things that I am passionate about. And so those are the things that I have to go after. I've been perplexed over the last probably 5 years about the state of our young men. So trying to keep my platform going, to ensure that I'm reaching young men, to help build them up is a priority for me.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I try to spend as much time as I can doing live broadcasts, getting experts in different fields to assist young men. And so that's one of the main things that keeps me going. And of course, I have grandkids, so they keep me alive as well. But those are some of the things that won't let me take a day off.
That is so good. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we're joined with Deborah Smith out of Jacksonville, Florida. Deborah has written a book to help young men. And we're so grateful for your passion and commitment to seeing that something is being offered to help young men. My son, RJ, was a guest on your platform before, and he thoroughly enjoyed himself and is looking forward to being back on your show. But you wrote a book, Build Your Best Life. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay, the book I wrote because, I did a lot of research. And like I said, helping young men is my passion. But in the research, I had all this information about all the things that, the obstacles that our young men face. And I was like, well, how can I get this information to as many young men and their help systems, which are, the pastors, mentors, parents, as possible. And so what better, form than a book. So my basic principles are what I use in order to try to reach young men, because a lot of them are missing basic principles of life. Education is wonderful. Yes, they all need education, but they need those basic principles. And somewhere along the way, that ball has been dropped. Yeah. And so writing the book is a great tool. This is a book. It's a great tool, but I have section in the back where they can put their goals, their financial goals, short-term goals, what they're thinking about, how they want to get there, some different tools in the book. So that was the passion and the drive behind the book.
Nice. You know, I'm a strong believer in books. I've written a few books myself. One of the things I've discovered is that in a book, you get to learn what someone discovered over a lifetime. You can learn that within a weekend. You can learn that within a week. What inspires you? I mean, at least who inspires you? Let's talk about that. And what have been some of the materials that have inspired you to just become who you are today as a person? That, you know, this is what, you know, it was this book, it was this person that challenged me, because there are people who are watching today, and if you're watching today, who inspired you? And which book, if you're watching today, write in the comment section which book maybe stood out to you that has been a difference maker on your journey. But Miss Deborah, what book stood out to you over the years, and who has stood out to you over the years when it comes to influential voices in your life?
Okay, of course, my mother, and I won't talk about her this morning, but my sixth grade teacher, for one, because she was one that taught a lot. Besides her curriculum, she taught us a lot about life skills, do's and don'ts. And those are with me today. You know, like I just have spasms when I see someone in a store in the pajama bottoms or bedroom slippers. So she just taught us a lot of life skills.
Yeah.
The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. You know, because we are what we think. And if we think negative things long enough, then we have a negative mindset. So reading that book probably 30 years ago, but I still use some of those nuggets today. Recently I read Higher is Waiting, and that's by Tyler Perry. And I have always kind of been inspired by looking at his movies, whatever, because they always have a life lesson in them. So his book, you know, it just tells how his experiences have helped other people. Then I read because I work with young people, I read the Burnout Generation, which is about millennials and the issues that are impacting them. And most of it is student debt. So that's one of the reasons why we need to talk to our young people about finances, and when they get this money for school, what they need to do with it. It is for school, but it has to be paid back. And the last one I'll talk about is Effective Living.
Oh, come on.
Because, and that was written by Coach Ricardo Miller. But Effective Living, because, you know, out of your story is growth. It can help with the Young Men's platform as well, but it helps each individual, because, you know, if you don't have passion and fun at what you do, you're more than likely not going to do a good job at it. So the book just keeps you motivated and wanting to be the best that you can, and find out what that best is. What does God have for you in particular? Not what he has for somebody else and you're, you know, coveting after that, but what does he have for you that can make your life better?
I like that. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad my book made the list, people. My book made the list. What's up? That's awesome. But listen, let's talk about this teacher of yours who gave you some principles. I think you mentioned it was 5th grade. And even now you still reflect on that. And so people, if you're listening, principles are eternal. Okay. Principles are like lighthouses. They don't change. And so when you find the combination to the lock, every number matters. And guess what? If you got that lock and those are the numbers, as long as you got those numbers and you got that lock, you have access to whatever is there. You've been taught some things a long time ago by a teacher. Let's talk about some of those things, and why do you think they are not being taught or carried out as much today?
And it was my 6th grade teacher, Miss Pinkney. She's going on to heaven. But like one of the things she always taught us, you look people in their eyes and you speak. She said, a lot of times you see people and you maybe someone like in the church, you pass people in the hall, you don't take time to even speak, or if they do, they just go like this. Say, what does that mean? That's not being respectful. You don't know what a person is going through anytime in their lives, what they woke up to, what they're going back home to. Good morning, good evening. What is that costing you? Nothing. And I find that with the kids at church, they come in and they just come and sit down, and I say, go back out the door. And they look at me, and I make them go back out the door. I say, now come back in. What does Miss Deborah want you to do?
Yeah.
So, just reiterate that, because I think that's important,
Yeah.
That's not, something that has to be done. And of course, what you look like when you go out. Of course, it's the inside that really makes a difference, but to be respectful. You never know who you're going to run into. But, back then we rode hair rollers, but she was like, don't go out the door with hair rollers in your hair and slippers on your feet. And I know my mom tried to send me to the store with some hair rollers in my hair one day, and was me and her back and forth. But I was like, no.
It is a known fact, people would say, don't judge a book by its cover, but the truth be told, people do judge a book by its cover.
Yes.
People do judge a book by its cover, and as you mentioned, I was told too, how you show up. I mean, how you carry yourself really does matter. If you had an interview, and you showed up any kind of way, you could be highly skilled. But today, it's changing. A lot of that stuff is changing. We have a lot of corporate spaces where you don't have to be like what you would have been 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. However, the principle still remains the same. If you had to choose between a well-presented person and a person who really paid no attention on how they presented themselves, more than likely, most people watching this will say, I'm going to pick the person who had a well-presented presentation, or how they carried themselves, who had some thought through to it, versus the person who really just showed up and had no intentional ways of presenting themselves. Let's talk about this. What has been some of your life's principles that really stood out to you so far now? What inspires you? Let's dive into your life's lessons. Smith's life's lesson that we want to teach our audience. We have people who are watching us from around the world, and on this platform, I like helping people to understand that if you discover the principle and you apply the principle, it could be the difference maker in your life. Now, the interesting thing, Miss Deborah, is that a lot of times you may have discovered something in the 6th grade from your teacher, and some people may have lived 40 years and never discovered what you discovered 40 years ago.
Right.
And so not because you discovered it mean everyone else discovered it. And so I'm interested in hearing some more principles that you now continue to hold on to, so someone can say, you know what, I was watching Effective Living live on YouTube with Miss Deborah Smith. She mentioned something, I never thought of that. And now that's becoming one of my principles. And so that's really what this platform is about. It's about helping people to understand there's a right way and a wrong way to live. And all of our guests, I'm aiming to have them to share some of their principles. And some of their principles are going to resonate with some of our viewers. And I'm hoping that it's going to make a difference. So go ahead and share with us some of your life's lessons that you've captured so far.
Well, of course, I think number one is to be respectful of everyone and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's the golden rule. I would say it's simple, but there are so many people that appear that they've never heard that before. Yeah. Even I'll go into law enforcement. I know that law enforcement has rules, and I have family members that are in law enforcement, but like I taught my sons, even though you're in law enforcement, you are dealing with people. People are people, they have feelings. So they don't have to be treated like animals. They're people. So, there's a certain way to treat anyone. Yeah. You have to protect yourself, but you don't have to be, I'll say, for lack of a better word, you don't have to be nasty or have a bad attitude when you're doing your job. Yeah. So it's the way in which we interact with others. You know, you can get more, like they say, you can get more with honey.
Yeah.
So you go somewhere and they've messed up your order. If you go yelling and acting crazy, you know, they looking at you, and you may get your food fixed, another plate fixed or whatever. But if you just go, excuse me, but my order is incorrect. I asked for blah blah blah. You might get your refund, get your money, your food redone, and get a refund. But it's the way in which you approach people. You know, because you know, customer service, there takes certain type of people to be in customer service. So like there are good people and bad people in every walk of life. So everybody that's in customer service shouldn't be there. However, there are some that, you know, are great customer service advocates, and so we should treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
You know,
I appreciate. Go ahead. If you
but
have a
also,
few more.
you know, because that's another thing that causes issue in society. We have so many issues because people don't follow simple, basic principles along the way.
I totally agree that you know, man, treating people the way you want to be treated is so important. But you know, Ms. Deborah, there's some people who have never been taught how to treat themselves. You know, and the unfortunate truth is, you know, they're not good with themselves. So the truth is, you know, so you almost have to also say, you know, treat people the way you want to be treated, or learn how to treat people correctly altogether in the event that you've never been taught, because unfortunately, a lot of teaching is not happening today. Do you agree?
I agree. Yes, definitely. You know, it's just like with dating. In my book, I do a section on dating. You know, and some of the way I've seen young men interact with young ladies, you couldn't do that and come to my house and pick up my daughter.
Come
You know,
on. Yeah.
you have, I know this is a different century. We do things a little differently, but chivalry is not dead. You know, it's 19 years. You walk up to the door, you don't come in the driveway and hump the horn for somebody to come out and jump in your car. You come to the door and you get them and you open the door for them.
Come on. So listen, you still believe, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, we got Deborah Smith here joining us. Do you still believe opening the door is important? Do you agree that that's still important? And you think it's still nice? Do women still notice that? I mean, is it a thumbs up? Is opening the door still nice? In addition, let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, because we've been out, because my husband, you know, does that, and of course, and we've been out, and then we have somebody say, "Oh, why would somebody open my door like that?" But he'll, you know, even go as far as if we're going in a door somewhere else, open the door for another lady, not the car door, but you know, doors to places or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just rude because. You know, just think about it. If that was your mom, how would you want someone to treat your mom? Like a lady. So to me, that's just being respectful and treating someone like a lady. Show them that you care.
You know, I know you help a lot of young men. Your book is filled with so much great detail for guys coming up, and I had to make sure I get a copy for my son. Let me ask you this. When going out on a date, because we're talking about the car deal, and I think there are a lot of people who don't understand. I mean, I think it's still important to open the car door, okay? And so at 45 years old, I'm going to have to remind myself, Ricardo, don't let that stuff go away, because times are changing, and we got these strong, incredible women who are like, you know what, I'm doing my thing. You could still be a gentleman. You could still be that guy who goes the extra mile and do those little extra things. And Miss Deborah, I mean, you think they notice it, huh? What do you agree that they notice?
Right. Yes, I do.
Good stuff. Let's ask this. You know, for guys going out, who pays the bill? I mean, you know, just going out first time, second time. Do you think the guy should automatically just outright step up and pay the bill? I didn't grow up in a culture where, you know, it's a split the bill. I think it's weird to say split the bill. But there are some people nowadays are saying that's okay. What's your thought on splitting the bill versus who takes the bill? Come on.
Well, I think when you're dating, and especially with first dates or whatever, that the young man should offer to pay the bill. Now, some in this the society we have today, there are some moms that teach their daughters to be independent. You don't need a man to do this for you. You pay your own whatever. Now, if you go out with a young lady and she says, well, I'll pay for mine. No, I invited you out. I'm prepared, but you don't get into a debate with her. If she wants to debate it, then it's like, okay. And she's like, I got it. I'll pay for our meals. No, you go ahead and pay for yours if that's, if that makes you comfortable, but I'll pay for my own. Don't let her pay for yours. You be a man, step up, pay for your own. But if she just insists, let her pay for her meal. But
there is this thought that is written in one of the etiquette books that I read sometime back, and it talks about the person who invited you to lunch ought to be the one paying for the lunch. Does that apply to male-female relationship, or that applies just to like female, guy? Because the person who invites to lunch or to dinner ought to pay the bill. What's your thought on that?
Well, that I think that's okay once you know someone, but I'm thinking most times I don't know what in society today, but what I'm familiar with, the guys are the ones that most times ask you out. So yes, whoever asks you is setting up the date. It's okay for them to pay for it, but
let's talk.
I should at least offer.
I was taught if someone else is going to pay the bill, watch what they order and make sure you stay within that category. How important is that? I mean, we got ladies who are watching, and they're brothers who are a little afraid to go on a date because they're like, man, listen, I don't know what she gonna order, and my paycheck isn't as strong as she may think my paycheck is, and she may just go ahead and just order anything. And even though a person say order anything, if you notice that they're on the special section, if they're on that lunch special section or so forth, what's your thought on that? I mean, there's a rule there. I know I practice if I'm out and someone is covering the table. One of the things is I'm like, hey, what are you getting? And if they're like, okay, this is what I'm getting, and their meal is a $45 meal, I try my best not to go above their meal. What's your thought on not outpricing the person who's going to be paying the bill?
Oh, I totally agree with that. Some people will just go overboard, but especially like you said, someone is treating you, you don't want to, just go and get the most expensive thing you can get. But some people will do that, but you should always be respectful of whoever is paying the bill, or, not to order something you wouldn't order normally. Some people, if they were going out and they were paying, they would get a hamburger and some fries, but if somebody else is taking them, I think I want a ribeye today.
So it's one of those things we don't see that conversation in relation to helping people understand. Some people say, oh, he's the boss, and he said order whatever you want, and they're wondering why they've not been invited back. Or some girl, she realized, the guy looks good, he's driving nice, and so he said order whatever you want, but she doesn't know there's a rule of engagement there, and you want to look into that, because like you said, if we were going Dutch, you would not have ordered that. If you weren't going to order that, then why are you ordering that on my dime? Now, let's talk about, in addition, Miss Deborah, how about the one when she says she does want to pay, but the guy wants to pay for her, but she says she's adamant. What are your thoughts on, hey, I'll pay the bill, you pay the tip? How about you tip the server, I'll pay the bill, and so forth? What's your thought on that?
I think that's a good alternative as well. Yeah. So, if that is a great alternative, because again, you don't want to feel you're supposed to be the guy and whatever, you're the man, So that's a good alternative. But again, if she just insists, but don't allow her to pay for your meal. You pay for your meal. It's my thought.
Let's dive into a couple of things before we leave. What about pulling out the chair? What about standing up when the lady leaves the table? I was told in the etiquette book, because I grew up on the street, man. Some of this stuff I still miss. I don't have it all on point, but I know it. I know it, that when a lady's leaving the table, the guys are supposed to stand up or get up. And then you're supposed to help with the chair when she comes back to the table. But some of it is moving away. How important is it still? Do you see fire? Do you believe it's still nice to do it? And if you're watching, put a comment in the section. Let us know. What's your thought on those type of practices? Ms. Deborah, do you think guys still should pull the chair out, still maybe take a minute and acknowledge the lady coming back to the table and assisting and so forth?
I think that's nice. This is something that's nice to do. Like I said, this is a whole different generations, and I know things change, but I think that's always a nice thing to do. Now my husband doesn't stand up when I come back to the table, but he always does, hold my chair out when we arrive somewhere for me to sit. And he always makes sure I sit first. He makes sure that I have my food before he starts eating. So yeah, there are a lot of different rules, and like I said, those things just aren't taught anymore. And I know they're not taught in school, because like when I was in school, you had different classes for different things.
Yeah.
And if they're not taught at school and they're not taught at home, then they're not being picked up.
Yeah, that is so unfortunate. There was another one that I realized that is not sort of being looked at anymore in our society, and there's just so many things. I think it's important for us to start asking ourselves, is this a good principle, and should I continue to keep this principle even though society may be moving away from this? You're stirring up some stuff in me. I got to remind myself, when I go out, I'm going to start practicing a little bit more of the stuff that I knew I read back in the day. But we got a lot of super powerful women now who just all feel all strong and all, that's a little bit much, but is it still pretty cool to see it being done?
Oh, believe me, they are like that though. Even though when they want to be strong and everything, they like that. Hey, they could go tell their girlfriend, "Girl, let me tell you, Ricardo took me out the other night. He opened a car door. Oh, when I came back from the ladies' room, he pulled the chair. Oh, girl."
All right. Listen, man. What advice would you give your 16-year-old self? Looking back at your journey at this point, you've learned a lot. Life has been good to you, but life has also presented itself with its challenging moments. And now looking back, you say, what would I say to me at 16 for someone watching that can appreciate what you've discovered up to this point?
Well, I guess the first thing would be not to try to grow up so fast. At 16, you think, oh, wow, I can get my license and I can do this and that. And, oh, I'll be grown in 2 years and whatever. But take it from me, stay young as long as you can. Be protected, learn as much as you can. And that's another thing, learn as much as you can while you're young. A lot of times when parents talk to their children, and I know when my mom talked to me, it was like, yeah, I was looking at her, but it's going in one ear and out the other, when I really should have been listening.
Let me ask you this: when it comes to you work with a lot of young men, 3 signs that's a bad deal that a guy needs to walk away. The girl is not a good deal. Like, hey, what's a bad deal? And I'm gonna ask you this on the same side for girls. If the boy is, these are 3 things. If you see these, bad signs, bad signs. So in your view, you have sons, you've been working with a lot of young men. 3 signs, if you see girls operating like this, you consider it to be a bad deal. What is that? And if you're watching, put your comments. What do you think, what they would call red flags, or something that just should be a deal breaker? I know for me, temper. I'm a big deal on temper. You trigger happy and you lose your temper real fast, male or female. To me, that's a deal breaker. What would you say is 3 that really comes to mind real quick?
Well, one would be like if she, like you say about the temper, but if she like grab you or whatever, because we always talk about, the male abusing, but there are some females that abuse as well. Yep. Someone will come at you like putting their hands on you.
Yeah, deal breaker.
Step away. If every
That's a
time
good one.
yeah, every time you see her, she's with a different young man in the car with this person, that person, whatever.
What'd you say?
And what I call them, I forget the name I use for them, but well, gold diggers. So if because with my sons, always made sure that they, they had some nicer things and they could use my car or whatever. But they always want something. Well, what you'll get me for Valentine's Day? If you get them some little small thing, they're looking at you like you're crazy, like they're all about money or whatever. No, because they're gonna want more and more and more. And then what are you gonna want to do to satisfy their wants?
Yeah. Somebody in the comments say pathological liars. Just inability to tell the truth. Run.
Right. That's a good one. That's a great one. Run. Run.
Any advice for I think that one was the girls. Just girls, if you see some guys who are like this, what would you say are a couple of before we bring talk to an end?
Kind of some of the same things, but like, don't let a young man disrespect you. I don't care who it is. Like, my son had a girlfriend and she went to our church and she was helping us out in our area, and he came up behind her and had his hands on her. I said, come, wait a minute. I told her, I said, come here a minute. I said, look, that's my son. I said, but that's disrespectful. Yeah. You don't have any business with his hands all over you, first of all, but then here you are in a church setting, you're helping us, and he walking all up on you, putting his hands on you. That's disrespectful. Don't let him do that.
Hey, on the street, there's a player.
Players get you in trouble.
Players get you in trouble. What's another two?
Another one would be all he's talking about is sex. Yeah. He started immediately. You meet, and that's the first thing he started talking about. Baby, I love you. If you love me, no. Yeah. You got plenty of time for that. Plenty of time for that.
Right. What's the third one?
What would the third one be?
So, but I see someone in the comment section say disrespect. Oh no. Yeah, if you see that disrespect, come on. Oh no. Go ahead, Miss Deborah. Ladies, if you are talking to a guy or you have a daughter and you're like, hey, if you see these three things, what would those three things be? Go ahead and drop them in the comment section. What about laziness? I mean, what about, hey, where you going in life? Well, I'm going to the mall. That has no vision. I mean, just Miss Deborah, let's dive in. Before you go, you have that one more yet? We're ready?
I was gonna say, well, laziness and trifling. Yeah, if they don't look like all they want to do is sit around and spend time with the guys, hanging out. They have no goals in life. They don't know if they're going to school. They don't know what they're gonna do with their life. Nope.
Yeah. Keep it walking. Keep it
moving. All by myself.
Yeah. Hey, last question. What does effective living look like to you?
Effective living is doing those things that I want to do. I'm passionate about. I have fun doing them. Those are the type of things that are effective living to me. Am I living the life that I envisioned some years ago? So yes, I retired. I have my retirement. I'm working part-time, but I don't have to if I don't want to, but it's something, I'd like to do. I enjoy what I do. Yeah. And I simply love my platform. So, that's something I love to do. I like to spend time with my family. And then I have my 3 Ds. Yeah. Discernment, decisions, and being and living in divine circumstances. So as long as I can get that discernment from my Father, stop and make the right decisions, I think I'll have that divine life,
Yep.
and I'll be okay.
Nice, nice. How can people get a hold of you, purchase your book, follow your platform?
My best way is my website. It's www.buildyourbestlife.org. www.buildyourbestlife.org. On there, you can find out about me, my calendar of events, my blog. I have a web store, and all my services are out there. And you can get on my social media platforms as well, all from my website.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Deborah, it's so good to have had you on our talk show again. We'll be doing radio soon.
Yes.
And so, yeah, we'll be doing radio on Effective Living on Fishbowl Radio Network, ladies and gentlemen, the last Monday in this month, which is on Monday. And so I'm looking forward to that conversation, Ms. Deborah. Go ahead, tell people about your book one more time as we bring our talk to a close.
Okay. Build Your Best Life. It is basic principles, and it's not only for young men, it's for everybody that embraces our young men as well. So it's for pastors, mentors, educators, parents, coaches, life coaches, and I follow basic principles in order to assist our young men in overcoming any obstacles in their life, whether they're past obstacles that they had or anything that society has thrown at them. And I'm open to do that. I do consultations, coaching, whatever, but everything is in my book as well. And you can get it on my website, get your autographed copy as well. If you're in the Bahamas, you can reach out to Anastasia Smith at 242-357-3214. That's 242-357-3214, and get a signed copy as well in the Bahamas. And it's on Amazon.com as well.
Excellent, excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We've been joined with Miss Deborah Smith out of Jacksonville, Florida. We'll be back here tomorrow again with another great conversation with a phenomenal guest here on Effective Living YouTube Live. Here's the deal. Put on the notification button, subscribe to our channel. Remind yourself every day, I'm responsible for constructing the life that I desire. If you have not registered for our upcoming Effective Living 5K run walk, if you want to walk, you can walk. If you want to run, you can run. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can join us in person. If you're anywhere in the world, you can go ahead and participate in this 5K run on the same day at the same time and be a part of this. But guess what? That same weekend, we have our Effective Living virtual retreat, April 9th through the 11th. Go to ricardomiller.com and register today. Guys, our goal is to help you take control of your life, okay? Don't forget the lifestyle you promised to yourself. On your way to your journey, it should be all about you taking control to a degree where you're liking where you find yourself. So if you don't like where you are, tell yourself, I need to change some things. And as Ms. Deborah mentioned, decide to build your life. Come on, build your life. And if you have a young man in your home, get her book today. If you believe in the next generation, get her book today. If you're a part of an organization or a school, go ahead and get the book today. I got my signed copy. Make sure you get yours. Once again, thank you, Ms. Deborah, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. God bless you.
All right, bye-bye.